Okay, well, we may as well get right into it. Looks like most of the attendees are on board. So, hello, I'm Jim from PSI Brand. So thank you very much for taking this 20 minutes out of your day to listen to our third webinar of our 2020 series, Perfect Your Post-Mold Offering. So first up, I'd like to apologise, we're in Zone 1, not Zone 3. We're broadcasting across 3 zones here. Sorry, 3 different time zones. And so yeah, a little challenging, but we're starting off in our first time zone, which is New Zealand. So I'll just make sure my camera's working there because I see it's doing a bit of a glitch on us. So I'll get that sorted. Let's turn that off and on, and hopefully that comes right. Okay, so what I want to do then in this 20 minutes is I'm going to run through the post-mold graphics and where they fit your offering. So whether you're a new customer or whether you're an existing customer, someone wanting to check us out, we're going to explain just where post-molds fit. We're going to share the secrets of the Landquip Porter Yards project, where we applied post-mold graphics onto a highly textured part. Here's a sample of it here, but I've got some red panels over here which I'm going to be literally applying them onto. So that's part of the live demonstration, including applying a large graphic onto a medium density polyethylene part to show you some quick hacks and quick tips as well. And just explain the post-mold popular features that you might not be so aware of, run through them with you. And of course, any questions that you might have, please pop them in the chat and we'll look to answer them at the end as well. So we've had some questions come in prior, so we'll be answering them. Just one other thing, if you want to change this view so you can see more of the PowerPoint or more of what's in front of me, just go to your view options at the top of the screen there and go to side-by-side mode, and you can shift and split your screen as desired. So I'm just going to run through a few quick slides now, and then I'll go straight into the live section, which takes most of the time and hopefully is most useful to you as well. So when to use post-mold or decals? Well, good question. The fact is nothing sticks to plastic due to the LSE or low surface energy. So just out of interest, many of you probably already know this, but polyethylene has a dyne level of less than 31 dyne. So compared to stainless steel, where you've got 46. So you might notice that decals stick really well to stainless steel, but not so well to plastic. That is a very real reason. But then by giving a polyethylene a flame treatment, which is often used with printing onto plastics, you can lift that dyne level up to 40. What we're going to be showing you is how we actually oxidize the surface using a flame for applying our graphics. So I've just shown a few pictures there of some examples where some decals have failed. So that number 5, the high pull, waste management, and also Walker zero turn mowers. You can see in each instance there's been some branding that has been there but hasn't lasted the test of time, just due to that fact that plastic has low surface energy. So I'm going to explain to you just briefly about the options that PSI offer for decoration of plastics. So starting from the left-hand side, you've got your InMold Extreme, which is our latest strain of graphic, really designed for the marine industry. But this is for InMold, so it's applied in the mold and molded into the plastic during the process, similar to our InMold Original. I guess some of the benefits of Extreme is it's on a clear base material, has UV inhibitors built into the actual construction, and it also has excellent flame resistance and abrasion resistance. So that's some of the advantages of the Extreme. The InMold Original is where we started out. Our original graphics, white film, which InMolds into the plastic. But what we're talking about today is the post-mold graphics. Post-mold graphics and vinyl decals. Well, vinyl decals, as we saw in that previous example, the vinyl decals are likely to peel off your plastic part. We do offer a high-tack vinyl, which is designed to stick to low surface energy surfaces such as plastics, yes, you can still feel an edge, and yes, you can still get at it to peel it away. Whereas post-mold graphics are really fused directly into the surface of your plastic, and then allows you to, give that branding some extra long life. So yeah, very vibrant UV resistant colors. They are self-adhesive, as meaning it has a heat activated adhesive. They are recommended for mostly polyethylenes, but download our spec sheet because there are other plastics where we've tried and proven this well, such as crosslink PEs, ABS materials, nylons, etc. So yeah, again, you apply this using a heat and burnishing process. So I'm just going to share a couple of slides now of some examples of where some of our customers have used post-mold graphics with really great effect. So this first example here of this tiger face is in fact on a HDPE injection molded part by a company called Hussey Seating in the United States. So they use these graphics to decorate these stackable or telescopic stadium seating arenas here. So this gives them a really unique advantage to their competitors, because they then are now able to take the logo or motto of that team, put it onto the plastic benches there, and really give you a really awesome visual branding effect. So Hussey have really put the post mold through its paces. As you can imagine, you get a really excited crowd on these seats here, and kicking and scraping and whatnot. They've really put it through its paces, so they really know, what it takes for graphics to stick to plastic. Incidentally, they started out with decals, but they just did not last. So a really interesting case study. Go to our website if you want to read more about that and see some more examples. The second one here that I want to show you is a local company here in Hawke's Bay called Lanquip. So what we're showing here is a portable sheet yard, and the panels on the side, these red panels, are actually extruded HDPE panels, and it's got a really high textured side, a really high textured surface onto it. So I'm just going to play this short clip and just talk you through how we help these guys. So you can see there the portable sheet yards in this short video, how they're used and where they're used with all the sheep here in New Zealand. And you can see the branding on the red there, so the white logo on the red panel. So yes, while it's a great product to use in that application, nothing sticks to it, no muck or sheep poo. You can see they have a challenge with branding. So they start off by heating the surface, flaming up to around 80 degrees C. They're using a plate just to shield the rest of the plastic getting flamed. Is then applying the graphic onto the part here, trying not to trap air bubbles, which is a real challenge because you've got such a high texture on this part, and I'm going to show you some close-ups shortly. And he's actually using a plastic fork here, and the reason he uses that is to really press the graphic down into the grooves of that plastic surface. So rather than using our typical burnishing pads, you'll find that a fork in this instance, or a hair comb, is much more effective. So he's finishing off now with a final flame onto the part, just giving it a short burst, and then finally you can see the end result there. So that was Lanquip and how they applied it. So I'm going to show you now some live demonstrations onto the plastics. I'm just going to change my camera around and stop sharing the screen. So hopefully it all goes as planned. Okay, so now you should be able to see this plastic part that I've got in front of me. And what I'm going to be applying onto this part first is, so this is a medium density polyethylene. Now you've got a nice smooth surface, which is always going to attract graphics really nicely. So I'm going to apply this graphic here. It's a large A4 graphic courtesy of Ken's Marine. And what I'm going to start off doing is heating the part. So if I had a smaller graphic, I might use a small gas torch like this here with a little click trigger. Very useful, handy to use. But in this instance, I'm going to use a large RIPAC gun. So these are very, very quick and effective, great for heating up a large area fast. So that's what I'm going to be using. At this point, I'm also going to mention here, do not use heat guns. Heat guns simply are ineffective. All they will do is heat up the surface of the part. They will not oxidize it, and we're really wanting to oxidize the surface. So, really, really quickly. So do not use heat guns, please. So once I've heated this up, I'm using an infrared thermometer just to grab my temperature, and I'm going to be using also my mechanical burnishing tool. So this is really effective because the burnishing pads which we offer for post-mold application simply slot into this little adapter which we've formed onto the tool. So it makes the job really quick and easy. All right, let's get straight into it. So first of all, we want to make sure our plastic's clean. This has come out of our lab molder here, so I know it's clean, but if it's been out in your yard or in stock or something like that, you want to make sure that it's clean of any dirt and grime. Isopropyl alcohol does a really great job, but yeah, like I say, I'm going to get straight into it and apply this graphic. Right, so first up, I'm going to be flaming my surface. So you can see a nice surface gloss here. I'm going to check my temperature, and it's sitting around 71. I want to be aiming for between 71 and 100. So I'm just going to give it another quick flame so I know it's at temperature, and then I'll put my graphic down. All right, get rid of my torch. I'm just going to expose the base of the graphic here. So I'm going to line it into place. Then using a squeegee like this here, I'm just going to squeegee right across the graphic. And this is just to help avoid trapping any air bubbles while I remove this backing. And what I have done is I've trapped a couple of air bubbles here, which is cool. I really wanted to do that so I can show you what happens if we don't get rid of them. So now we've got that sticking onto the part. The heat activated adhesive is working. It's holding there in place. I'm going to get straight in and start burnishing it. You can see it's starting to transfer off here. So it's fully transferred off. I peel back, take the transfer off, the transfer backing off like this. Now, like I mentioned, I've trapped a couple of air bubbles here. I'll try and show them on the camera. It might be a little bit tricky to see. But when you get a trapped air bubble like this, you just need to get a knife or something like this here and just lance it and then press the air out with your finger like this here. Another one down here, get rid of that. Now I've got one here. I'm going to leave it just to show you what happens when we do our final flame. So now the graphic's almost ready to go. We just finish off with a final flame. So I'm just going to flame over it here just to show you what happens. My torch down. Okay, so I've flamed over it just similar amount as I did in the very start, and I'll try and bring that little bubble up to it, but right here we have like a little crack and a discolored part, and that's due to the bubble popping and cracking during that final flame, whereas the one that I've lanced has come out perfect on that white area there. So if that happened on the white area, you'd see it go a creamy color, you get some cracks in it, it'll just look nasty. So how do I know that that's gone on properly? Well, that's a good question. What we suggest you do when you run your first molding tests is do some adhesion tests. What I've done is I've molded one yesterday just to show you what we do when we do an adhesion test. Now typically you can do a fingernail test, which is just really picking as hard as you can at the edge of the graphic. It's a really good indication. If you can pull your finger across and peel the graphic up, obviously we haven't gone hot enough. Always perform this test once the graphic is fully cooled. The other test is a crosshatch test. So with that, I get a knife and I'm cutting just 3 strokes across either way, and I'm making sure that I'm going right through the graphic into the plastic. Then getting an aggressive tape and sticking it to the surface really hard like this. Like I say, you do this test on your very first molding, perhaps on a scrap piece, just to establish that you've got that you've got your parameters right, because some plastics you need to go hotter, such as high densities. So just to give you that confidence that you've got great adhesion. So then I'm just grabbing the other piece of tape and pulling it away like this here. And if I've got any of the graphic left over on this tape here, that indicates poor transfer. So now I'm going to apply it onto the red panel like I promised. So stay with me. Again, I've applied one the day before, so I'm going to apply one right above it. Another graphic right here. Wait a minute, I'll just make sure I'm in the camera. Okay, so this is the textured panel. Might be slightly tricky to see on this camera, but we've got a super highly textured surface here on this high density extruded plastic. Okay, so this is my graphic, and in this instance I'm going to be using a common hair comb instead of a plastic fork, and that's just to press the graphic down into the grooves on this high texture. So again, I get my torch, I'm going to be flaming the surface. Okay, so we see a bit of a gloss going on there. I check my temperature, I'm up around 119, so I want to be 100 for high density. Just give it another bit more of a flame there. Now get my graphic and lay it over the area that I want it to be applied into, and go straight into it with my fork here. So rubbing over it. Takes a bit more, probably takes a bit more rubbing than the normal post, a flat surface. But I want to make sure that I get a full transfer before I start taking off the backing sheet. If I take it off too early, it might create a bubble. That'll look really ugly, especially on a white graphic like this. That's all right, can't speed this up. It's pretty much transferred down that end. Just a bit more to go this end. That's looking good. All right, it's looking really good. So peel that away. Make sure nothing burnable is within range. And now I'll just finish off with my final flaming. Notice just how I'm moving over it really fast. You don't want to stay concentrated on one area, or else you'll start burning the graphic and you end up with discolored areas, and it'll look, also you might start getting some cracking going on. So that's it. Hopefully you can see this is the one that we applied here. It's one I applied yesterday. So anything's possible. Right, so I'm just going to move back now onto my shared screen, just to go through the final slides. Got any questions, please pop them in the chat, and I'm more than happy to answer them at the end. All right. There we go. Right, so let me just run through the features then on the post-mold graphics. So as I mentioned, they are pre-coated with adhesive, so there's no spray adhesives required. That heat-activated adhesive is really just to hold it in place on the part while we run through that burnishing process. Okay, those adhesives are not designed to glue it to the part. When we oxidize the surface of the plastic, it opens up the pores. When it returns to this normal, it grabs the graphic and takes it with it. So the graphics are extremely opaque. As you can see, white on a red part, it did not turn pink. Shelf life absolutely unlimited. Now be reasonable here. I don't want you having them in your glove box or kicking around underneath your desk. Keep them within the packaging that we've supplied them in, and just in a shelf in your office or in a drawer should be absolutely fine. Colors, 4-color process, CMYK is something that others struggle to do, as you see in the Hussey demonstrations. we're getting 4-color process prints there. This one might be slightly hard to see, but this is actually a bear head and torso and feet, which makes up a tic-tac-toe set, which we've just done recently for a customer. Track and trace. So due to our printing capabilities, extremely sharp barcode and QR codes are extremely popular with a lot of our customers. MOQs, 1 sheet minimum order quantity. So beat that, we don't have any set thousands. Lead time, 10 days anywhere, we promise the fastest. Hey, this one's a really good challenge for us, but we truly do promise the fastest delivery and lead time. Competitive, ask for a free setup cost on your first order. As attendees to this webinar, thank you very much, you will receive a complimentary free setup cost discount. So take advantage of that and customize. Ask us for free samples. Think of it an application perhaps that you've got now of your own, or even your clients, where you can offer them branding just to help add value and upsell. And last, of course, there is safe. So our graphics are all 100% FDA compliant. So just want to put that in there so you know they can be used in any situations where those sort of compliances are required. So just in conclusion, I have some takeaway points for you. Just to summarize, it's plastic, it's plain, be seen and be heard. You've got no excuse for sending product out the door without some pop. So think about where you can be seen more. Now more than ever, it couldn't be more important to be seen in such a challenging marketplace. Also want to touch on our trained and certified program. So get your team on board. We've got a new online training portal. I'm showing you the link there, of which you can go in and complete modules to become a certified PSI brand graphics operator. So get your team on board. Ask us also for a masterclass where we use a similar format to this here, a Zoom platform, and have a 60-minute masterclass where we run through each of the graphics. We send you samples and we get some really cool face-to-face training so your guys can go out and be 100% confident with application. Download our PCPA or troubleshoot guide under the resources section just to help with troubleshooting. We also have spec sheets on there should you want to find out which plastics graphics are compatible with. And identify the features that you're missing out on. So I've just covered the popular features in the previous slide. What are you missing out on that you can take advantage of today? And of course, follow us more on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, where we're constantly updating with tips and tricks and new videos on where we are going with our graphics. So with that, I would like to, before we finish, just see if there's any questions, and I'll answer them as accurately as I possibly can to make sense. So I see there's some in here. Excellent. First question. Do you do samples for prospective customers? 100%. That is something that I've just mentioned. It's not just help, for our very best clients. Of course, we do offer even more than that for our best clients. But yes, totally ask us for custom samples or standard samples. Happy to send them to you. On-site demos, 100%. New Zealand wide at the moment, no problem. Australia, a little more challenging. We have run one masterclass with a customer in Western Australia. Went really great. In fact, we ran 2 classes of around about 20 in each. So yeah, happy to do the same for you as well. The other question is MOQ 1 sheet. What size is that sheet? Great question. Our sheet size is 1000 by 700. So whatever graphics you can fit within that is your minimum order quantity. And on that one sheet, can we do a set of serials too? Absolutely. So we utilize both screen and digital print technology, which gives us massive flexibility as far as printing barcodes, 4-color process, and that sort of thing. Will the burnishing pad work as well as the comb on a hull textured surface? Great question. I would try both. Okay, so if you try the burnishing pad and you're getting a large degree of surface bubbles, and you'll notice that, trust me, if you get a large degree of surface bubbles, then that's an indication that we're not getting the graphic down into the grooves and the texture. And so in that case, yes, you'd use something like this highly, what could you say, sophisticated hair comb. Yeah, so we're looking at creating perhaps some of our own products for use on highly textured surfaces, but hey, at the end of the day, hair combs are quite available. So perhaps we'll get some in orange and branded with our branding. So yeah, thank you very much for those questions. I really appreciate it. I'm sure everyone's benefited from them. I trust everyone has benefited from this webinar. We're trying to keep these monthly and with a different focus. The next one's going to be on our auxiliary products, so the surface enhancers and paints, etc. So stay with us, keep tuned, and for today, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Trust there's some benefit in for you all, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you.